So welcome back to my series on Prison Architect. So far we have developed some minimum security dormitories on the bottom half of the site, and we have developed some medium security dormitories. They're technically dormitories because if you want bunk beds in a cell, they have to be dormitories. Single cells will only take one person in a single bed, so that's why they're dormitories. That's why we've got 1136 medium security prisoners in these blocks, and in the minimum security dormitories, of which we have 2212, they're all set up and ready to go. I've done a little bit of landscaping and lighting to try and make this a little nicer, a little cheerier, brighten the place up a little bit. Hopefully they're going to enjoy their time here, I'm sure, once we open the prison. And the same for the medium security blocks. We're all set up, we're all ready to go in terms of those two categories. The next thing that we need to do is to work on the central facilities of this site. Now, just a reminder of where we're going with this. We're going to have a maximum security wing in this location, another maximum security wing in this location, a visitation and parole center just behind our welcome center in this location, and in these areas we will have supermax in self-contained cells and a snitches wing in self-contained cells. These two areas as yet determined, but it's good to leave yourselves a little bit of space. So the purpose of today is to create the kitchens, canteens, workshops, yards, teaching rooms, all of those things that the minimum and medium security are going to share. So I did some calculations a while back which worked out the strategic capacity of what I needed for the kitchens and the laundries in particular. Now, because I made some calculation errors, let's face it, I made a mistake in some of the numbers for both of these blocks. The kitchen sizing was slightly overcooked for minimum security and slightly undercooked for medium security. Now that I've basically corrected what we need for the kitchens. Now this would be the kitchen and canteen required for minimum security, and as you can see, it's huge. You could basically develop aircraft in a space this size. It's absolutely enormous, and we have another huge canteen and kitchen for medium security. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to not construct this canteen, and I'm going to schedule both minimum and medium security to use this canteen at different times. That's what we're going to try and do, and I'm going to use the larger one because then there's definitely enough space for both to use because it's sized for the larger population. So that's what we're going to do, and we're going to have something else in this location because I'm kind of running out of, don't have a lot of space now that we've got just the catering allowed for here. We need to have a yard. I'd like to have a gymnasium. I'd like to have some recreation rooms. We need some medical facilities. We need teaching areas, all sorts of things that we want to get into this. So the other thing that we need, and because this prison has been not open, but technically in existence for 11 days, all my staff are very unhappy because no one's had a meal the entire 11 days that this prison has been created, and they are all very, very hungry. So the first thing I'm going to do out of all of this is build a staff canteen, and I haven't worked out any algorithm or numbers as to how much I need to provide, but I've set something up, and it's based on sort of serving a population of about 150. We already have 60 guards, so this might not do it. We'll see how we get on. I don't really have any sort of established metrics for how this might work, but that's the first thing we're going to do. So I've allocated the canteen area, what will be the kitchen area. We'll have some storage. I'll need some space for utilities because we've got quite a lot of power running here, and we need some water. And I'm going to have, whilst this is going to be staff only, I'm going to have a training room, I think, set up in this area because that's sort of a decent size. Let's see how we go. because we need to have a room for the taser allocation for all of our guards, and we're going to have quite a few guards in operation in this prison once we get running. So let's go ahead and create some foundations for this area. So we've created a basic foundation just for this area at the moment, even though this large extent of this area will be constructed, built, one huge block. And we're going to go ahead and create some walls within here, roughly in the space that I've allocated with the plan tool. And we will get staff door into the utilities. I'm going to try and maximize my capacitors. There's going to be a lot of equipment around here. These particularly worry me as to how I'm going to power them, but we'll start off with these. And get the water pump station and a water boiler into here. And let's get electrical connected. I'm going to put some staff doors into here. And we'll use some flooring. I quite like the white tiles for my sanitary areas. Keep it nice and clean. We'll have concrete tiles for it everywhere else. So we'll connect our water pipes up. I'm not sure, do these need hot water? I can't remember. Yes, they do. So we'll have some hot water to the sinks. That sounds like a good idea, doesn't it? Assuming the boiler's going to reach. Because I've been caught out a few times already on pipe lengths. It seems to be half of what it used to be, all I can remember. So the next step is to put in the rooms so they're functional. Make this a kitchen. And to make sure that it's a staff canteen, we need to change our deployment for this area to staff only. I will make this area staff only as well. So you can't see the words under the tables, but it will say staff canteen. And we need to employ a cook or two. Basically one cook per cooker. And they're going to go and get... and the ingredients are arriving. Excellent. So hopefully the staff will start to be a little happier now that they've got some dinner, because I've kept them here nearly 2 weeks without any food. And the next step, I'm going to go ahead and construct the main canteen, which is going to serve the minimum and medium security. So we'll create some foundations for this area as well. And we'll do it up to here for now. The challenge is going to be how we get these utilities to work, because I think we're going to have such an inordinate amount of power stations. Going to be very intense amount of power usage there. So we need some doors to enable the foundations to construct. They're constructing, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to put the tables and the benches in, and I will come back to you once I've done that. Okay, so they're cleared. So we'll use the planning tool, quick build, and the clone tool. Then we can construct our furniture. I have no idea if this is going to work. There's a huge amount of people are going to be in this room. All trying to eat at the same time. In terms of flooring, it's going to be concrete tiles, I'm afraid. Usual vandal resistant affair. And we're going to need lots of doors into this area. See, brand new tables and they are already stinking. Shocking. Okay, and we'll have some... We're going to have prisoners working in this kitchen, so we can't use any staff doors if we want prisoners to be freely moving. We'll do that. And what we'll also put in here, something that I've found seems to happen a lot when they go into the canteen, is they like to have some, they like to use a phone. So we're going to put some, put a couple of phone booths along the outer edges so that people can have their family visitation need sorted when they're in the canteen eating. I'll just put them on that side. And we will quick connect these to the nearest phone tap. Because it's always good intelligence to know what's going on in the prisoner conversations. Hate to invade their privacy, but I am going to anyway. Okay. So the next thing will be the kitchen for this area and its utilities. Late in the night now, but there were a few people who've come and had their food. A few staff members, so that's good. So that's working nicely. Lots of food coming in, so that's good. So hopefully, and it looks like, yes, so the need has decreased. The staff members, which were desperately hungry, have managed to sate that need, so they're a little happier. So let's go ahead, and the first thing I'm going to do, because they're already constructed, I just need to test if I have a power station fully surrounded by capacitors. What does that serve? So about between a quarter and a third. About half of those, so we'll add another bank. So we're getting to the point where we might blow it if we add another set here. I suspect we will. So it's overloaded, but it's still working. So whilst it's flashing at me, it's still working, so I'm going to leave that. I think that will work fine then. So let's see if we can get another one. Power station. See, that was a bad idea because it's connected to the same circuit. So we need to redo this one. Inadvertently connected it directly up against the same circuit. So we do need to leave some space. We need to... Okay, so it's 4 banks that will be connecting. So we need to do it this way, make sure that we don't connect any of these circuits together. do it. We have another 1, 2, 3, 4. We need another 2 of these. I can build it up in this area. Maybe we don't put all our eggs in one basket in one room. Yeah, we'll connect these up to one circuit. That's running well. Leave the gap. Connect this block up. There we go. That's not actually as bad as I thought it would be. I thought we were going to essentially fill this whole area with power stations. So that's not bad. So I just need some water, and I'm going to need to put a water boiler somewhere because these pipe runs probably going to need to take out a sink. I'm going to take out that sink there and put a boiler in. But we can put in our water pump station. Doesn't that really annoy you? As soon as you pick the water, you lose exactly where the electricals are, so you can't coordinate your services underneath. Useful to see where they are. I'm not even sure the water pump station will stretch this far, but let's try it. That obviously needs... Yes, that needs its own separate power. Because again, we've just connected it to the circuit, which was already overloaded. I'm going to build the water pump station in the corner, out of the way. We need another power station to power everything which is in cookers. Okay, so our cold water is starting to connect. Excellent, so that's the cold water for all our sinks. And we need hot water boiler to provide the hot water for the sinks. So I imagine that's going to be as far as it can take it. This also needs power, so we'll see if we can handle it from this power station. Yep, that appears to be running okay. Okay, so we can go that far. So let's see if we can stretch that. Perfect. So this central location might be good enough. And will it stretch this far? Perfect. Stretches all the way. So excellent. So we need to define our rooms for these two. So for kitchen, it's going to be space. And canteen, this space. So we have 100 jobs available here. And then we will fully enclose the room. And we will put standard doors. And we will create a storage room. Something around this size, I think. Make sure we've got enough storage space for the kitchen. Now I realise this is somewhere where contraband is available. We're hoping to pick that up with the dogs and the security scanners, but we'll see. We'll see how this goes. Now in terms of who can go in here, we basically want this to be shared between minimum and medium security, but we don't want Max or anyone else coming in here. So we need to create a custom sector which is just minimum and medium. So they can go in this area. Excellent. And we'd also need to employ basically a cook per cooker. So our staff bill is going to go up by an insane amount. But this is what apparently is necessary with the numbers. So there they all are, hundreds of them. So they're not exactly needed yet, but they're all in position ready. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this into a staff room, because we have an awful lot of people who are going to be working, staff members working in this area, who maybe don't want to go to the little staff rooms in the prison cell blocks, something a little more centrally. So to enable the split scheduling to happen between minimum and medium security, in terms of the regime, we need to amend this so that basically minimum and medium security come in at different times. So I'm going to do 10 to 11 for minimum. We might have something other than lockup at this point, but that's fine. Then 1 to 2 medium security will eat, and we'll have 6 to 7 for minimum, and we'll do 9 to 10 for medium security. Now in terms of the schedule while we're in here, we're going to have 7 AM shower, and then basically I don't really believe in lockup necessarily unless we need to have it, so I'm going to put work free time for minimum and medium. Maximum security, we are going to have no work, and so that can just be free time. They can eat at the same time because they're in a separate separate facility altogether. So work free time for the lockup times. Now in terms of yard time, again I think we're going to split that. We're going to have a yard that works for both sectors on a split basis. What I don't want to do is split the work free time. I want them to work in quite decent blocks of time so they can go to the yard after they've eaten. So we try and maximize the stretches that they're actually working. Okay, so we'll go and set a staff room up in this area. Staff doors for this. and we will create a couple of toilets. We need the wide sofas. We need drinks machine as a minimum. We need to define this as staff room. Interestingly, it's not saying a wide sofa drinks machine or that it's indoors, so it might just be lagging slightly. So let's see what else we can put in there for them. Give them a pool table. Give them a large TV. Maybe with some sofas facing the TV. And we could have a radio. What else can we give them? That's probably good enough. Just need to connect in these utilities. And let's give them sink and a mirror. Has to go against the wall. Give them some hot water as well. Excellent. So this is looking good. This is looking busy, full of food. I'm wondering how it's going to look over here. I think we're still loading up. So by the time we open this prison, they might have loaded the food ready. It's going to be a huge operation. We need to go and sell this equipment because we don't need it anymore. So need to actually dump it because I didn't really buy it anyway because I'm playing sandbox. So I think I'm gonna make this, I'll make this area a yard because it's near to the canteen, so I have people coming out of the canteen after the regime can go into the yard. Then we've got plenty of room left over for workshop, the chapel, for the other rooms. So we'll come back once this is demolished. So in this area we're going to have the medical area and psychologist's office and a morgue. And the psychologist's office is necessary for some of the programs. So we'll create the foundations. Doors, we will have standard doors because we need people to be able to come in, whether they're prisoners or staff. That's constructed. So first off we'll start with the medical. So we'll get some medical beds in. Huge number of prisoners, so I'm going to be quite expansive with this because I seem to have quite often have some overdose issues, so hopefully not too many of those, but I will expect that to happen. In terms of programs, the pharmacological treatment of drug addiction takes place in the infirmary. Each participant requires a medical bed, so that's all we need for that to take place. In alcoholics group therapy we need a common room, which we're not going to build in this location. We'll build on the other side. Behavioral therapy requires a psychologist's office. So we'll put a few more of these beds in. Just check what the room requires for the infirmary. Just needs to be indoors, just needs to be a medical bed. So that's straightforward. That's easy to deal with. So I'm basically going to double stack these. That feels a bit intimate. That feels like good spacing. Maybe that's all we need. Maybe that's all we need. And we'll have some nice clean sanitary tiles in that. And we will make that the infirmary even. How are we doing on power supply? Ability, I think maybe we can supply from there and not too overloaded. It's just lights. That's fine. I like that. It's a classic ward, end to end. I'm gonna have direct access into the morgue though. So I'm gonna have staff door in this location. Again, not expecting there to be too many deaths and awkward, horrible situations in this prison, but that doesn't mean it's not going to happen. And I think my overconfidence might be tested to its limit. So this may not be anywhere near enough that we need. It's indoors, morgue slab. Excellent. So I'm going to build a whole bunch of psychologist offices, because I would really like this to work in terms of getting people out of their addictions. So we'll give them lots of opportunities. I'm just going to make the morgue a little bigger so that wall can carry through. I'm picky. So in terms of doors, again, standard doors so that prisoners can go in and out. And we will need an office desk. Each of these. We need a filing cabinet. And we need an office chair as a minimum for the office. And I'll just check what we need in terms of for the prisoner programs. Each participant requires a leather sofa. Wide sofa, sofa brown. Okay. Basically, sofa. So I think we've got room. We have for a nice wide sofa. So we're going to make these offices. And the foreman has already taken that office. So I need to get rid of the foreman and rehire him. I have no idea how to reassign an office. You can come back, just go and leave for a bit. Psychologists. And none of them are going to be in the office that I dropped them into. So a little bit of shifty games. I've got the uniform on, same haircut, wonderful. So we can set programs up. Have a little bit of space here. So we could create a common room for the behavioural therapy. In my experience, prisoners don't really use a common room. The items that you put in there, such as things which will entertain them, can be around different areas. So I would like to encourage the common room next to the yard and the gymnasium. So I'm going to build a bit of a bigger one. Hopefully I can put enough stuff in that people will use it. So I'm going to use this. I'm going to have a chapel in this area. That's what we'll do. We'll make a nice big chapel. Again, standard door. The chapel needs altar, pews, and a prayer mat. So we'll have the altar at the far end. We'll have pews on one side, prayer mats at the other. And there's a program associated with the chapel. Spiritual guidance. So basically pews and prayer mats. But we'll just fill it with pews. We'll get as many as we can in there. That way we can maximize the size of the sessions. It's like a mega church, a mega mosque, or mega temple. So that's looking good.